loud and clear.
Perfect, got you loud and clear. Okay, so we want to go ahead and...
Alright, so transponder's on altitude, 1200, and then mixture is lane for taxi.
Okay. Alright, we ready?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Satellite traffic, Swift 10 kilos, about 2 mile 45.
Got a lot of power, so be very gentle with that throttle.
I barely had to touch it.
Just a little bit to the left here.
Yep.
Alright, we're clear.
Yeah, I did that little right-left movement to avoid that. So have you been flying today?
No, I haven't been up yet. Just did a ground lesson before.
Right on. Thing's squeaky.
Oh yes. She's a little old. Damn near almost 50 years old.
Yep. See if I can get this turn. There we go. You want to run it up right here or what?
Swift 10.
Yeah. Bring it up to that yellow line.
Left downwind to runway 15, full stop, middle.
Alright. So, I want to check the weather.
And middle light
Turn 2, 9er, 4.
Take front.
Meadow Lake Airport. Automated weather observation. 1-8-1-9er. Zulu weather. Wind 1-2-0 at 9er. Gusts 1-4. Visibility 1-0. Clear below 1-2,000. Temperature 8 Celsius. Dew point -1-6. Altimeter 2-9er 4.
Okay. So, we have 14 gust, 120.
Meadow Lake
9.
Airport. Automated weather observation. 1-8-2-0 Zulu weather. Wind 1-2-0 at 9er. Gusts 1-4. Visibility 1-0. Clear below 1-2,000. Temperature 8 Celsius.
So it's coming from this way?
-1-6. Altimeter 2-9er 4.
Are we facing 210 right now?
Yes, I haven't got through my checklist yet. I need to probably do that. Okay, so...
And always, there's windsocks placed
Meadow
at
Lake Airport.
just different areas around the airport.
Okay. Hey, it's got a heading bug. Cool.
Final runway 15, middle.
Alright, so, taxi clear, brakes test. We'll check that when we go around. We want to go ahead and, what do we want to do first? Do we want to do the 360?
We'll do the before takeoff check.
Okay, so, nose wheel straight, parking, taxiing light off, which it is, beacon light's already on, navigation light's on, seatbelt shoulder harness secure, cabin doors rechecked, locked, and closed, flight control, this is where we check these. Check all of them together, the box. Alright. And then flight instruments checked correct, oil temperature, fuel reading. This gauge is a little off, but that's okay. We got fuel, I checked the fuel, amps good. Cylinder head still warming up, oil pressure's good. We have, well, let's check here. Okay, so the attitude's off.
Left crosswind,
Adjust
left
it.
down, left
Nope,
traffic.
it'll automatically adjust or it just doesn't work.
Nope, it might not work. Especially when it's slumped over like that.
Yeah, like it's
Because all we're going to do is be able to adjust that. So,
there you go.
maybe just give it a little bit of power.
Do the vacuum. Because these two use vacuum, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I was just trying to spool up right now, probably.
Okay, cool. So, fuel checked, fuel selector, both. Trim control set for takeoff, throttle set to 1800.
Go
ahead.
Swift 10 kilos,
Okay,
clear 15,
1800. Well, okay, so on this one, even though it's, we still do the RPM to 1800, we don't worry about the manifold on the run-up?
Correct.
Okay.
Because RPM, we're already at full.
Okay.
Pitch.
So, set ridge for altitude, is this good, or do we twist it like we did last time?
So it's twisted out to the left.
Yep, until it goes down a little bit, right?
Exactly. But it's a lot easier to see the peak RPM on this one.
Because it's digital?
Oh, yes.
So 1808, 1809, 1810. Oh, we're going back down. Okay. So we go back to 18. back to 18, about 10 or 12. There we go. Is that good?
Perfect.
Okay, cool. And then we got magnetos, so we can go ahead, Rich. So magnetos, ready to check those?
Let's do it.
Okay. Watching for dip.
Metal Lake traffic Charlie 980.
Leave it long enough.
Let it sit a little bit.
This one's different. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. Tell me when.
Well, it'll stabilize. You'll see it.
Oh, we're looking for as long as it's not 125.
Exactly.
Okay,
Here we go.
Good. Okay. Go back to both. Let it sit for a second. Stabilize. Okay. Go back to the right magneto. Okay.
Perfect.
Went to 110, but is that okay?
Yep, what's the max on this? It's different.
150, right?
150.
Yep.
And now prop cycle, so we're looking for 3 different things when we cycle the prop. So we're going to go all the way back and then all the way in. We're looking for an RPM drop.
Okay.
So RPM drop. Now we're looking for a manifold pressure rise.
Okay.
15, Metal Lake.
And
Manifold pressure rise, and then we're looking for an oil pressure drop.
Okay. Yep, little drop there.
There we go. And then we just want to make sure it's full.
All the way back to full.
And now the thing is, you can literally turn this infinity to the right. Just make sure it's all the way in. And when we set it, I'm going to have you bring it back a little bit.
Okay.
I want you to twist it out.
Okay.
Just for fine tuning.
Okay. All right, vacuum. So where's the vacuum gauge?
Top left.
Top left. Right. There's
A little bit more left.
right there. Cool.
There we go.
Yep, we're good on that. Instruments check rated. Ammeter check right here. And then throttle idle. 1,000 RPM. Okay. As long as we stay good, then we're good there. Wing flaps, we're good. Checked up. Radio comm set. Okay. Transponder altitude, good. Parking brake release. Taxi light strobes. We can do taxi light on. And then clearance.
So if you're taking off, I wouldn't do taxi light. I would just do landing light.
Okay. Because
There
it
you go.
makes sense. Let me tighten this back up.
The landing light's going to be a little bit brighter.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Okay, this thing's not want to tighten, but it's all good.
Here we go.
Okay, so we good for the 360?
Let's do it.
All right, let's go. Fuel truck on the left. That was so fun yesterday, man. Yeah, that was my first real long flight.
Metal Lake
You know?
traffic Charlie 906 Echo off at Alpha 3 northbound on Alpha. Metal Lake.
There's one coming off the runway, 2 of them. On the taxiway. Yeah, there's the windsock, I see it now. Looking up, look, clear visibility here. I don't see anybody on the approach or the base. Alright, so are we good to go to the hold short?
Let's do it.
And this is the same rotated 60?
Correct.
Okay.
Metal Lake 906 Echo back taxi 08 Metal Lake.
Okay. I don't see anybody, do you?
Nope. We look good to go. Do you want to make a call?
So, Meadow Lake traffic, what are we, 25 Victor, take off runway 15, Meadow Lake traffic?
Departing to the east.
Departing to the east.
Meadow Lake traffic.
Meadow Lake traffic, hold on, Meadow Lake traffic, 25 Victor, take off runway 15, departing to the east, Meadow Lake traffic.
Here we go.
Meadow Lake traffic, 25 Victor, take off runway 15, departing to the east, Meadow Lake traffic.
Let's do it.
Alright, let's go.
Alright, so when we take off, we're going to have a little bit of a left crosswind, so we're going to have our ailerons turned into the wind, and as we speed up, we're slowly going to bring them back to level, and once we hit 60, they better be level, and then we rotate.
Okay, so hold them all, how far to the left?
All the way.
Okay.
Pull left, and then they'll slowly come to level.
Right when we take off?
Correct.
Okay, you ready?
Pull left. What is that?
Yeah, full, no, I know, I was just getting lined up.
There we go.
Okay. Now, ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. Heels on the ground.
Heels on the floor. Full power. There we go. And there's 60 level and pitch back. There we go. Climb out at 75. Okay.
traffic, Skyhawk 1094 Foxtrot, 5 miles to the north. We'll be transiting east of the field, 8,500 feet out of lake.
Alright, with the prop, twist it back until this gets below 2,500.
Okay.
Or just at 2,500. Perfect. Alright, turn me to the left.
Okay, we're gonna make a left turn here.
Then you can say Meadow Lake traffic. And I want you to start saying Skyhawk. Skyhawk 25 Victor. Left crosswind departing to the east, Meadow Lake.
Meadow Lake traffic 25 or Skyhawk 25 Victor. Crosswind traffic departing to the east.
Left crosswind departing to the east.
Meadow Lake traffic Skyhawk 25 Victor. Left crosswind departing to the east.
Perfect.
Meadow Lake traffic Skyhawk 25 Victor. Left crosswind departing to the east. Is that good?
And you want to say Meadow Lake after it, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It kind of matters, but it doesn't matter. So I want you to follow this road out a little bit more. Okay. So don't veer to the northeast.
Got it.
I want you to stay more east.
Okay.
And then keep climbing us up to about, we'll go all the way up to 10,000 feet today. We're going to be working on some abnormal and emergency procedures today.
Cool. Yeah, this one does definitely fly different.
Oh yes.
Can feel the old school. So we stay full throttle on the climb, right?
Oh yes. Cool. Yeah, the manifold pressure will decrease as we go up in altitude, but the RPMs will maintain constant.
Right.
That is why it's called a constant speed propeller.
Until you're landing and you're going down and you're almost throttle idle, then it'll start dropping, right?
It
Depending on your
will.
speed, I guess.
The thing is, it will try to maintain maximum RPM, but only maximum RPM is attainable in certain throttle settings.
Right. Okay. So we're climbing to 10 right now, huh?
Oh yes, we're going up.
Cool, man. Like I said, I watch my videos back. When I feel like that, I repeat myself all the time. But it's good for me. It helps me, you know?
I'd rather you verify that you're doing the right thing than do the wrong thing.
I also noticed I talked a lot too, so sorry.
I know, it's fine.
So, I told my wife, I was watching, I was like, man, I talk a lot.
That's all good.
So sorry for him.
So you see how your nose is veering to the left a little bit?
Yep.
So make sure we keep that right rudder, counteract that left turning tendency in.
Is that the highway right there we're following?
Yep.
Okay.
That is Falcon Highway.
Yeah, these runners are different, that's why I'm like... And that was really the only day I got to fly good, really. I mean, the only other time we did the, just the pattern.
Yep.
Okay. We are coming out at 8,800.
And just ignore that attitude indicator.
Yeah, it's not working, obviously. No. I don't think that's accurate.
I got our standby vacuum pump on.
Seeing if that works.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
It's trying its best. Oh, it might actually
work.
So there we go.
Standby vacuum pump.
For the win. Like to have those.
I might need to scoot my seat up here in a little bit. My arm's reaching pretty far, but it's all good right now.
I mean, I can grab the controls real quick. So my controls.
Your controls.
You got it real quick.
All right. Let me see if I can actually scoot forward. Nope. I guess that's as far as it goes.
No, it'll scoot more forward. I guarantee you. You just gotta wiggle it a little bit. It's an old seat.
Let me see. Let me see if I can get just a little bit. Okay. Let's see. Of course, the seatbelt harness is not a good design.
Nope.
Okay. My controls?
You got them.
There's traffic in front of us too.
Oh, that is two
C-130s.
Looks like C-130s. We're gonna turn away from those guys.
Sweet. Still your controls.
My controls, yep.
Be cool to see them up close. What is the safety distance? Is there? I know there's no like call outs here. There's no ATC, but
Well, there is ATC, and we can go ahead and listen to them real quick.
there's ATC off of Meadow Lake or
Not Meadow Lake, but Springs Aviation, or Colorado Springs.
2991.
I definitely wouldn't want to be too close to a C-130 because they produce a lot of wake turbulence off of their wings.
Yep, that's what I was thinking too.
All right, your controls, just climb us up to 9,500 instead, and keep us on about this heading. You can go about 150.
Okay.
Because it looks like they're doing some practice approaches, and I want to stay away from them as much as possible.
Yep. Are they circling around or are they staying that way?
No, they're doing what's called a instrument approach procedure. So there's a waypoint just out here called a Dane, and they fly that, and they do what's called a DME arc, basically just like a quarter circle turn into like a straight in for one of the runways.
We're 9,500.
Perfect. So pitch, power back, and trim.
Army 20136, contact them approach 120.1.
120.1 for Army Copter 136. What should my manifold be for this? And what wind do, or what airspeed do we want to stay at?
I would say just about 90 knots or so, 80 to 90 knots, and just keep it, you can keep it like right at 15 inches of manifold.
Got it. A little trim down, nose down.
Alright, so today we're just going to be doing a lot of talking. Okay. We're just going to be going over different emergency scenarios that could possibly happen, whether it's specifically in this plane or in just airplanes in general. So, first emergency that we'll go over is a wingtip fire. So, when you're looking out on your wing and you start seeing some smoke travel from, wingtip, what would your first instinct be?
There's a fire?
Right. What would you do about it?
Well, I would want to get the fire out, so I'd check my fuel on the right and turn it off to the left.
Okay.
Making sure that no fuel's going or coming from there. There's no fuel dump, is there? That wouldn't be good when it's on fire either. And then I'd want to get down to get the fire out.
Okay.
I want to kind of get some speed and get the fire out for the wind.
Absolutely. So, another way we can do that and try to put that fire out, and also make sure that that fire doesn't travel inboard, is going into a slip. And so,
like you said, like the right rudder, left
aileron. Exactly. So rudder and then opposite aileron. Now, what I always want you to remember is to step on the fire. So if we have a right fire, right wingtip fire, right rudder, and left aileron.
Okay.
So I want you to do that.
Speed's okay for this?
Yeah. Speed's
Full right rudder?
Yeah.
Okay. Full right rudder, left aileron.
Yeah, you got to pitch down with it as well.
Yep.
And the airplane doesn't like flying in this condition very much because we're creating a lot of drag.
Yep. How's that?
Good.
Okay. Coming out of that.
Okay. Now, what else do we have out there on the wingtip when you did your pre-flight? What did you look at out there?
I looked at the lights.
The light.
Yep.
So usually if it's a wingtip fire, it's almost always electrical.
Okay.
Because there's nothing else that can really catch fire out there.
Right.
So, what would you do?
I turn off the lights.
Turn off the light.
Boom.
So, you turn off the light, and hopefully that would extinguish it after we did a slip as well, and that electrical, didn't keep fueling the fire.
Right.
So, you did that for the right wing, and that's pretty much all you can do for the right wingtip.
Okay.
Now, there's other stuff on the left wing.
Right. There's the pitot.
Pitot.
heat, yep.
Pitot heat, exactly. So we'll make sure pitot heat is off.
Boom.
That's not going to fuel the fire as well. And then we do the opposite. We'd switch it to the right tank instead of the left tank.
Yep.
And then we do a slip the other way. So I want you to do the slip the other way.
All right, let's try it.
Step on the fire. There we go.
How's that?
Very nice.
Okay, recovery. There's an airfield over there. What airfield is that?
That is Bullseye Airfield. That is a Air Force Auxiliary field.
Should I get away from there?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
They won't be operating this high above it. Cool.
All right. So how was that?
Yeah, that's exactly what we want to see. So, next is going to be let's say we had an engine fire.
Okay.
So an engine fire, probably one of the worst things to have, because if we have an engine fire, we know our engine's probably going to go out soon, and is probably causing a lot of visibility problems and smoke. First thing that we want to do is make sure that we don't have the cabin heat on.
Okay.
If we have the cabin heat on, we're basically sucking in all that carbon monoxide, and we don't want that.
Right.
That would literally kill us.
Yep.
And next thing we want to do is we want to try to put it out. See, a lot of people think, all right, let's shut off everything. Yeah. Well, we don't want to shut it off immediately. Let's see if we can put it out and extinguish the flames before it gets too bad, and then we might have a little bit of power to land somewhere safely. So, first thing that you want to do is literally just nose it over.
Okay.
We'll power idle first.
Right.
Bring power back.
Can we do it now?
Yeah, let's do. Let's go power back,
idle.
and let's go prop full.
Prop full. Okay. Prop's full.
And I just want you to nose it over
to
the top of the green arc.
Okay. Tell me if I'm going too fast.
Oh no.
And then when I get to that, I want to pull up and then full power?
Nope, just maintain that.
Okay.
Don't really nose it over. And if your ears start getting clogged up, just move your jaw around.
No, I'm good.
But really nose it over.
Okay.
So this is called an emergency descent.
Can I grab two hands on the stick?
You can trim it out as well to help you.
I guess that's true. Okay.
And go ahead and you can start to level out now.
Okay, so leveling out. I feel that G's.
Oh yes.
Okay.
So that green arc is basically telling us you start getting a little bit of power back in. There we go. The green arc, or the bottom of the yellow arc there, is basically telling us that is the maximum speed that we can obtain in smooth air conditions.
Yep, unless if it's in, I want to say this for myself, is that okay?
Yeah, go for it.
So if this is at smooth air conditions all the way up to the red, but you don't want turbulence or anything for the airframe, right? Like
correct.
It's for the actual structural?
Correct.
Okay.
Because once you get up into that yellow arc, if you get hit by turbulence, there is a chance that you will exceed the load factor and you will break something in the airplane.
Right.
Alright, give me a turn back to the north here.
Okay, can I climb or do you want to stay the same altitude?
I will stay at the same altitude.
Do you want to go left turn or
Left
right
turn.
turn? Okay. Just want to make sure the airport. Not losing speed, not losing altitude on the turn.
So another type of emergency that we really don't want to have is an alternator failure.
Yeah.
And a little bit tighter of a turn, so we're not too close to this airport. Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Don't see anybody, but they sometimes do skydiving operations out here, and so I don't want to chop up Air Force guy.
All right, so you want to head straight north because that's going over the airport. Is that okay? Or?
No, you can just stay like parallel and just go straight from here.
All right, let's do that.
But alternator failure.
Okay.
Not the best emergency to have, but no.
Do we want to pull the prop back?
Oh yeah, we can bring it back to 25.
2500. Just on my checklist in my head.
Yeah, all good.
Okay.
Contact tower 119.98.
Okay, so this screw's a little loose. So what does that mean?
What do you mean?
Like trying to screw it out, it's like getting really loose.
That's fine.
Okay. I've never flown this before, so
You're good.
There we go. Like it gets a loose spot and then it goes like really loose.
Yeah, when it's really close to the full pitch stop, it gets really tight, and then it'll start getting looser and looser, and then it'll kind of get to the same looseness once you're back a little bit further.
Okay.
All right. All alternator failure. So, if we start seeing negative amps and either a high or a low voltage warning light, then we know that we probably have lost our alternator.
Where would the low voltage light be?
So there's a high voltage light. I don't think there is a low voltage light in this guy. So we would just see negative on the amps, on the ammeter.
And so right now it's not showing a charge.
Is it zero?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that means that our battery's fully charged and we're good to go.
Cool.
So if that ever happens, we start getting negative on the amps, you will see it. And so what I want you to do is, I literally want you to turn off the alternator right now.
Turn off the alternator.
That's the left master switch.
You ready?
Yep, go for it.
Alternator off.
And look at the high voltage light that pops on. Look at the amps.
Yep.
Look how negative they are. Now turn it back on. And so that's literally what we would do. We start to see that indication. Let's just recycle the alternator, see if there was a circuit breaker popped or just a weird over voltage or low voltage situation that the solenoid kind of disconnected from the system.
Okay.
That's what we would do. Now if that doesn't work, then what we should do is we should start heading back to an airfield immediately.
What do we try to pop the breaker too and see if maybe that's out, or check the breaker right there?
No, we don't want to pop that breaker.
Okay.
What's the number on that breaker there?
60.
60. So a 60 amp breaker will fuse if it's popped out and you push it back in.
Okay.
It will literally fuse. It's
Didn't know that.
too high of an amperage to mess with.
Got it.
I want you to fly level with this road to our right here, and then just climb us up to about 8,500 here.
Sounds good.
And then you can go, just full power. So that alternator circuit breaker pops out. Don't ever push it back in, ever.
Okay.
Immediately start heading back to your airport. If you're really far away, then start figuring out a different airport to land at. But we have what's called a 10 amp per hour battery, just about. Some of them are 12 amp per hour, but that basically means that if our battery will only run 10 amps for 1 hour. So if we're pulling 30 amps, it's only going to run for about 20 minutes.
Right.
And so all those circuit breakers that you see that have numbers on them, those are all the amps that are pulling from those. So those add up pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot there. So if we have, GPS, radio, transponder, electric turn coordinator, electric tachometer, we got CHTE, EGT, and our outside air temperature, we got so many things that are electrical in this plane that if we lose our alternator, we're going to drain that battery pretty quickly.
Right.
Now, in this plane, it's not easy to pull those circuit breakers out. It's almost impossible to pull them out, unlike the R model that has nice little detents to actually pull them out. So what we'd have to do is we would literally have to come up here, we'd have to manually turn off, really we'd want to turn off our radios, or really our GPS. We try to keep one radio on, that way we can communicate with someone if we need to, especially if we're going into a controlled airfield, right? If we're going to an uncontrolled airfield, then we really don't even need radios anyway, but we'd like to at least give them a call before we come in and say, hey, alternator failure, we're going to come in and we're going to have no radios, and you got to give them a heads up as we come in. Make sense?
Yep, 100%. So all the radios and all the except for one.
Yeah, we'll keep one radio on. Yep. And the thing is about this guy is our Comp 1 is going to be on our GPS, and our Comp 2 is going to be basically right here in a different radio stack. So we could turn off our GPS.
And that probably draws more power.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. And that's why we'd want to turn that off.
Yep, that makes sense.
Cool.
We're about 8,500.
Nice. Any questions?
No. Let me just run through it all again in my head. Alternator shows low amperage. We're going to shut the alternator off, cycle it back on, and make sure that high voltage light goes away. And then engine fire, we're going to throttle down or pull the throttle back and go down to about right at that yellow arc, the tip of the yellow arc.
Yep.
And then level out. And then a wing fire, we're going to shut off the fuel from the right tank or whichever tank it is, shut off the light for that tank on the right. And then we're going to try to do a slip. Cool. Right rudder, left aileron. And then for the left tank, we're going to drop the pitot, make sure the pitot's off, turn off the left tank, we're going to go to the right tank, and then same thing with the lights, and then we're going to slip to the right. So left rudder, right aileron. Is that correct?
Cool. Alright, so I want to go back to engine fire now. So let's level out 8500.
Pull back to about 15 manifold.
So if we do have an engine fire, that's kind of the initial process. Nose it over, try to put the fire out. If that doesn't work, now we're going into what's called engine, what's the word? It's like recovery mode. So we're going to try to just keep all the fire there.
Okay.
And also try to not fuel the fire anymore.
Right.
And so what we'd do is we'd start shutting everything off that relates to fuel, that relates to the engine. So what we do is we go throttle idle, mixture, idle, cut off. We have a fuel shutoff valve over there on top of that primer. We pull that, and then we don't have an off switch on our fuel selector, so that's basically how we would shut off the fuel.
Right.
And then what would happen if we do that? What happens to our engine?
It's going to die.
It's going to die. So now we have to land with no engine, but I'd rather land like a glider than catch on fire and burn slowly as I fall out of the sky.
I agree with that.
So, when we're looking, so...
Are we still following that road, by the way?
Yeah, I just want you to keep
that's a
going
different
straight,
road.
because
Okay.
all I want you to do is fly, scan, while I talk and we go over this
Got it.
stuff.
That's what I'm doing.
So, I want you to remember A, B, C, D, E. So this is when you have shit hits the fan, emergency situation, you got to get down almost immediately. So A is airspeed. So you lose your engine, best glide speed. For this guy, let me see, move your arm real quick.
Yep.
Give that out. Let's see what this guy is.
What's that called? The V what?
VG.
VG, okay. Glide.
So best glide speed says 70 to 75 knots. It shouldn't be a range, it should just be one number, so we'll just use 70 knots.
Okay.
So 70 knots is our best glide speed. That means if we pitch for 70 knots, we will travel the furthest distance horizontally while losing the least amount of altitude. Make sense?
Yep.
Cool. So A, airspeed.
Airspeed.
B, best place to land.
Okay.
So as soon as you lose your engine, you're pitching for that speed, you're trimming it out, and then you're looking for a place to land. Now, roads are great as long as they don't have power lines.
Right.
That is the one problem about landing on a road.
A lot of power lines.
And
too.
there's a shit ton of power lines out here. And also you got to worry about cars now. Hopefully, if you're on a dirt road and a car's coming right at you, hopefully they pull off when they see an airplane coming down. Obviously, you can't assume everybody's going to be smart because...
or that they see you for some reason.
Exactly. And so that's why I always say, if you do have to land on a road, always land into oncoming traffic because the oncoming traffic would see you.
Yep.
Now, obviously, if you're on I-25, that might not be the greatest idea.
Right.
So it's kind of... it depends on the situation. Fields are good, but there's a lot of things that can be in those fields that you might not see. Potholes, fences, barbed wire fences,
Oh yeah, I'm
stuff
looking
like
at it
that.
right now.
So there's a lot of stuff in the field that might not want to land on, but at the same time, I'd rather land on a bumpy field and shear off the landing gear than, just pile drive it into someone's house, something like that.
Exactly.
So there's bad situations and then there's really bad situations. It's kind of just, taking the lesser of the two evils sometimes.
Yep.
And then C. C is checklist. Now, C for checklist, the thing is, if you're low in altitude, you don't really have time to run through a checklist.
Yeah.
So, real quick, my controls. I want you kind of focusing real quick what I'm about to do. So,
I got the trim in, so if you need to.
that's all good.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, it's nice and bumpy.
I know that. I was gonna say I dropped it really quick too. Hit it pocket.
So instead of running through an actual checklist when you lose your engine, I like to run through what's called an inverted L. Now this works for pretty much every single Cessna. So you start here at the bottom. So you're trying to get your engine restarted.
Right.
So you start at the bottom. You want to make sure you're on both. You come up. Trim's not going to really affect you as much to start an engine, but you can trim it out to make sure you're still on that best glide speed. And then you're working your way up. You want to make sure flaps are up. If you lose your engine, you don't want to have flaps and you're just going to fall out of the sky quicker.
Right.
Mixture, go mixture rich.
Okay.
Make sure you're getting as much fuel as possible.
Okay.
This is not an engine fire, by the way. This is an engine failure check. Because if you have an engine fire, don't add more fuel to the fire. Prop in this case, we would go full because full prop would give us the maximum performance out of a prop. And if we're trying to restart it, throttle would go. I don't want it to be full, but we can get it back and then cracked a little bit and see if any change in throttle changes if our engine's going to start up.
Right.
And then we'd work over and we'd have our pump. We can go, high pump, or we can go actually low pump. I would go low pump just to try to get stable fuel flow because there's this is our auxiliary fuel pump, and then we have an engine-driven fuel pump. And so the engine-driven fuel pump, once the engine is actually running, that's what's taking over and supplying us with stable fuel flow. But if that were to break, then we would need to activate that low fuel pump.
And then question real quick before you go, I want to stay on the fuel. So if we were in like the Gulf or Quebec, or the Quebec model, we would prime it? Or no?
No, I wouldn't prime it.
Okay.
But if we were in the R model, I would turn on the fuel pump as well.
The injection. Okay.
But no, I wouldn't prime it.
Okay.
And then we get to the key, try to hit the key, and then make sure, obviously, we have master switches on.
Yep.
We make sure our primer was in and locked. If we have that primer out, then we can actually be pissing fuel out. And so we don't want that. And then obviously make sure fuel shut-off valve is pushed in and not activated.
Yep.
Because that would obviously be cutting off our fuel, which we don't want if we're trying to restart. So that inverted L, does that make sense?
Yes, so
It's like an L like that.
go like this and then over this way.
Exactly.
Start here, go up, left.
And then you can obviously work your way up and then check your dials, check your gauges. So obviously, if we see, our engine slowly dying out and where you did that check, and we see oil pressure dropping and oil temperature rising.
Right.
What does that tell you?
Oil leak.
Oil leak, exactly. What if we see the opposite? We see oil pressure rising and oil temperature rising. What would that be, you think?
Overheating.
Overheating, and what's kind of conducive with an oil pressure rise?
Oil pressure rise.
The opposite of a leak.
Yeah, it'd be too much fuel maybe, or too much oil.
Maybe, no, I would
Maybe
say
not flowing correctly.
Not flowing correctly,
Yeah,
exactly.
blocked or something.
Maybe the oil pump's not working. Maybe there's a block in the oil lines. So we want to make sure that obviously if there's too high of oil pressure or too low of oil pressure, that is 100% conducive with an engine failure.
Hold on.
What's up?
I heard like an ELT, a siren in the background for a second. I know that's not. Anyway, sorry.
Sometimes when people talk on the same time in the radio, it'll do a little bit of interference. It'll sound like a beep or whatever, but it's fine.
Okay.
So yeah, but the thing is, don't ever assume that high oil pressure or low oil pressure means your engine will die. Always look at your oil temperature.
Okay.
Those should always kind of work hand in hand. Because if you have an erroneous reading on your oil pressure, you will have the same erroneous reading on your oil temperature, whether it might be high or low. Because oil pressure sensors go out all the time.
Yeah.
Alright. You have the controls.
Okay. I've got the controls.
Yeah, it's nice and bumpy out here.
Right.
And you can just stay at about
mode or
8,000.
Okay.
Alright, so I want you to run through that inverted L for me again.
Okay. 1 second there. Okay, so we're going to check the fuel, make sure it's on both. We don't actually have, the fuel is on, right? Make sure, hold on, there we go. Go with flaps, make sure flaps are up, cabin heat's off. Well, you didn't think you said anything about cabin heat, did you?
Oh no, but you're right. Okay, make sure cabin heat is off.
Okay, and then you want to put the mixture to full? Yep. To rich. And then you want to move left. You want to make sure you do possibly, you want to check the throttle.
Yep.
And then you want to make sure that the, might have to pump it. Might have to use the fuel pump.
Yep.
And then you want to move, make sure, check the oil temperature, oil pressure. And then you want to check, I would check that those switches are on too, if the alternator everything's on. And then go ahead and start it.
Anything with the key? So I would work it over, and as soon as you're done with the pump, hit the key over, see if that does anything. And then obviously if you see, oh, both of my switches are off,
Right.
then you won't even be able to start it. So then you can go back and try to start it again.
Right.
Now, if we have everything on, and we go to hit that key in that starter, and it does absolutely nothing, our prop doesn't move an inch, what do you think is wrong?
Well, the starter could be gone.
Starter could be gone. And do you think that there's any way to start this plane without a starter?
Yes.
How
High
is that?
engine speed.
Exactly. Because you can hand prop this thing. Actually, you might not be able to hand prop this one exactly, but you could definitely get some airflow going through that prop to try to spin it. And if you have
Like pushing an old car.
Exactly. And if you have fuel flow and your magnetos still work, then you have your fuel, your spark, and then it should start up.
And you want the prop all the way in, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so that is ABC.
Okay.
So D is declare. When you declare an emergency, you want to just say a couple things. So there's two different types of emergencies. There's a PAN emergency, so P-A-N, and you will literally say PAN.
Okay.
Skyhawk 25 Victor. That's usually a non-life-threatening emergency.
Okay.
So let's say we lose our engine, but we're in the pattern, right next to the airport.
Right.
It's not life-threatening. We're not gonna just die, but it is kind of precautionary. We want to make sure everybody kind of gives us enough room and enough space because we will be coming down.
Right.
Or let's say, you threw up and you just vomited all over the panel display. Now, I would declare that almost an emergency because I will start throwing up as well. But at that point, I will say, we do have a kind of a medical emergency on board. It's not life-threatening, but we do need to get down as soon as practical.
Yeah.
I wouldn't land in the field, but I'd try to get back to Middle Lake full throttle.
Stop throwing up.
Exactly.
I would too, by the way. Have you had anything like that happen? Just side note.
I've had someone throw up on themselves before.
That's not hazmat, but the smell, man.
It's the smell. That's the worst part, is the smell.
Yeah, windows. Okay.
Yes. And ever since then, I always carry sick bags.
Smart.
In every single plane.
Smart.
But yeah, I've had a couple guys throw up in sick bags, and I told them, all right, toss it out the window, because I can't deal with that smell.
Yeah, for sure.
But yes, so stuff like that, that's a PAN emergency. And so when you declare it, you can say, it really depends on who you're talking to. If you really need to get down and get medical assistance immediately, that's more of a Mayday call.
Okay.
And so when we're doing a Mayday call, we always remember how we always do 121.5 for the ELT check.
Yes.
And so that's literally 911 for the sky.
The
so
ELT or the 121.5 is?
121.5. Okay. And so your ELT transmits over 121.5,
gotcha.
which is 911 basically.
Gotcha.
So if we're like, let's say we did lose our engine right here, right now, I'd switch over to COM 2, switch over to 121.5, and I'd say Mayday, Mayday.
How do you transmit on COM 2, by the way?
COM 2 mic.
Okay, so you'd go from COM 1 to... Okay, got it.
Just like that.
Got it.
Other ones have like a mic selector switch, and so whenever you have questions about, how to run through this radio stack, just let me know, because sometimes I forget to tell students, and so
I'm familiar with this, even this one a little bit, if I'm honest, but I haven't had time to play with it in real life.
All good.
But yeah.
But yeah, if we need to talk on 121.5, we switch over. Mayday, Mayday, 1025 Victor, engine failure. We're just about, we got CO4, which is Springs East, just off to our right over there, about 2 miles away from it, and we are going to be landing off airport. And so someone would come back to us immediately. Whether it's Springs Approach, whether it's Denver Center, most likely it's going to be Springs Approach because we're closest to them. But they will come right back to us immediately, and the one thing that they would want us to do is to squawk 7700.
Is that their squawk?
That is emergency emergency squawk.
Okay.
So there's 3 different squawk codes. There's 7500, 76, and 77.
Okay.
And so those are the 3 different emergency squawk codes. The way you remember what they are: pirates never talk during emergencies. So 7500 is pirates, hijacking. Hopefully we never have to worry about that in our little bitty Cessnas. You'll never hijack this plane, and I'll never hijack the plane either.
That's good to know.
So never squawk 7500,
Okay.
ever. That is
Pirates, okay.
That is literally, if you want to see Black Hawk or an
Right, somebody
F-18
pull
up
right next
close,
to you.
that's how you do it.
Yep.
And then we have never talk.
Which is if radio comms go out?
Yes, exactly. And so we would still have our transponder. Let's say, I broke off, both of our mics or our radios just stopped working. We'd squawk 7600.
Okay.
And then emergency. That's literally any type of emergency. Engine fire,
77.
engine failure, medical emergency, stuff like that. It's just a blanket emergency for squawk code. And what it does, since we have a transponder that gives altitude and position, it will basically let them know, hey, we need to send emergency services out to these guys immediately.
Okay.
Whether it's fire, whether it's ambulance, whether it's police, stuff like that. They have our location immediately. And then once we crash land, hopefully our ELT will go off. If not, then our transponder still is giving them our location.
And you said, so that all is 76? Or was that 77?
That's 77.
That's what I thought. Okay.
77 is emergency.
76 comms go out.
is literally just radio failure.
Right.
You can't talk.
Pirates never
Never talk.
Okay.
During emergency.
During emergency. Okay.
That's how I
we'll
would-
write that down when we get back.
Oh yes, oh yes.
But I like that acronym.
So that's declaring. Any questions on declaring?
Nope. And you would just switch over to that frequency, right?
Exactly. And so now, if we are in the pattern, and like I said, we lose our engine or some kind of precautionary failure, I wouldn't want to just switch over to 121.5 because who in the pattern is listening to 121.5?
Right.
Not many people. So when we're in the pattern, we'll kind of just keep talking to, the pattern frequency at Meadow Lake or whatever airport we're at. But we will still kind of use that same vernacular, the pan or the mayday, because if our engine catches on fire, even though we're in the pattern, that's still a mayday call.
Yeah.
Because we want everybody to get the hell out of our way.
Move out. Yeah, we're coming in.
Be gone.
Yep.
Medical emergency, I have a stroke, you have a heart attack, something like that, that's a mayday call. I want everybody out of the way, and even then, I actually probably will start squawking 7700 because what I want is I want medical services immediately.
Okay.
Makes sense?
And then yes, and when do you have to, what does ident do? Does that send the code right when you do it?
So ident, there's no need to ident when you squawk an emergency frequency because it will automatically ident.
Okay.
It will automatically flash red on the controller's radar scope. And so there's no need to do that. Usually ident is hey, we just told you to squawk something, but we can't see you. Can you ident? And it'll just kind of flash on their screen. It's oh, okay, there you are.
So if somebody ever asks you, if you're willing to control the airspace, they say ident, 1754, whatever, do you, or if they tell you to give the squawk code, do you put it ident automatically, or does it just
No,
do that?
so basically what you do, if they say squawk 4626 and ident, you squawk 4626, and then you press the ident button, and then it'll kind of flash on their screen so they can get a pinpoint on where you are.
But you don't have to hit the ident unless they ask you to.
You do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, you do. You only have to hit the ident if they tell you to.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of people hit it anyway when they get the squawk code. I don't think there's any point to because usually as soon as you squawk something or as soon as you're talking to a controller, they're kind of figuring out the general area where you're at usually because you tell them. It's hey, we're 10 miles to the east. Oh, okay, they're over in this area. We tell them to squawk something, and then their squawk code switches from 1200 to the squawk code we just told them to. Usually they'll say okay, can you ident for us? We can't find you. Okay, ident. Boom. It's a nothing issue. Make sense?
Yep.
Cool. All right. Any questions on what we've just kind of talked about?
Nope, other than just writing down the acronyms, that's it, I get it.
Oh yes, so that is A, B, C, and D.
Yep.
Now E is the most important one. Execute the landing.
Okay.
That is it. That is the most important one. Doesn't matter if you held your airspeed perfectly, you found a beautiful place to land, you ran through all the checklists, and you declared the emergency. If you just stall on short final, crash and burn and die. It's all useless. So always make sure that we don't forego one of the items for executing the landing.
Okay.
We want to make sure that executing the landing is the most important thing.
Yep.
But the two that I would say are least important are checklist and declaring an emergency.
Okay.
Because if you don't have time to do either of those, don't worry about them. I don't want you trying to plug in 121.5 as we're 100 feet off the ground about to land in a rocky field.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Yep.
we'll get there when we get there. Because if we don't have, you know, a medical emergency, we don't need, you know, an ambulance right then and there, then we can have a nice landing, try to have a nice landing, and if we don't, you know, then we can call emergency services. But don't forego any of that to have a shitty landing.
Makes sense.
Cool. All right, give me a turn back to the north 330.
Okay. Turn in 330.
All right, I know today is less of a, you know, maneuver lesson day, but this stuff's very important in my opinion.
I 100% agree with that.
Emergencies, I will tell you this, I've never had an engine failure or that type of emergency. I've had carb icing, stuff like that, but never an actual emergency where I had to squawk 7700 or shut off my engine in flight. So I'd rather we be prepared for whenever it will happen, because it will happen. It's all about when it will. But as always, if I'm in the cockpit with you, I will go ahead and take controls whenever that happens. And I might have you do something like, hey, you know, try to hit the key over for me, you know, turn the fuel pump on, cycle the alternator, or switch over to 121.5, make a mayday call, you know, stuff like that, you know, but I will most likely be flying the plane and having full control over the airplane.
Makes sense.
But obviously, once you start soloing, you will be the sole operator of the airplane, and so if you get caught in a situation like that, you'll have to be able to do that as well. Cool. Perfect. Alright, it is getting bumpy out here.
Yeah.
My goodness. I want you to fly over to this airport just because, well, you know where this airport is. You see this airport, right?
Yes.
So this is Bullseye. It's basically pretty much straight south of all of those windmills, and there's another airport just a little bit more northwest, and it's just good to kind of have these airports and know where these airports are in case of emergencies.
Yep.
Because, you know, what I really love doing on aircraft checkouts is putting someone right over one of these little small airports that they're not familiar with, and pulling their engine out and saying, all right, where are we going to land? And they pick a field that's like 10 miles that way, and I go, all right.
There's an airport, right?
Look straight down.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh shit.
Yep.
So that's one of my favorite things to do. So as long as you know where they are just about, then in an emergency they'll help you out.
You can do nearest, right?
I was looking for the nearest button, but I don't see a nearest button on here.
I don't either.
Which is
You can do direct too, but yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. Let me get out of here.
I mean, you have the 4Flight 2, you could always type in nearest in that, right?
Exactly. And also, we got a nice little screen here that shows us.
And I noticed I was looking at the 4Flight Garmin, and Garmin actually has an emergency button at the top that you press, and it shows you the nearest airport right there, and like you can press it and go to it.
Nice.
It's actually pretty convenient, but
yeah, you can just kind of start flying us in the general direction of C04 here.
Okay.
Maybe about 300 heading.
Okay. 300.
Now, I will tell you this, we're not legally allowed to land at Bullseye.
Okay.
But if we have an emergency, I'm putting it down on
Right,
Bullseye.
yeah, right, exactly.
So, it's not one of those things that, you know, you're never allowed to land there, and if you have an emergency, you have to land in the field.
Rather answer for it later landing at that airport than have to land in a field.
Exactly.
Yep. I'm with you.
Deal with the consequences later rather than ask for permission now.
Yeah, right.
So, it's pretty much right off of our nose.
I think I see it as a diagonal.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so that airport is called Springs East. Their frequency is actually 122.9, so it's not too
Ours
different.
is 122/7, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And so it's not too much different, but they have 3 runways. They have two dirt runways, and then an asphalt runway, which is parallel to one of the dirt runways. But we'll fly over it, and I'll kind of, so you can have a good look at it, so when you're, you know, flying near the area, you know what it's supposed to look like from the air. And,
have you landed there?
oh yes, plenty of times. I never use the asphalt runway, though. It's terrible.
Really?
It's actually
Bumpy.
the worst runway I have ever landed on.
Jeez.
Like there's an actual pothole and then a bump right after the pothole halfway down the field. And the first time I landed on it, I landed and then I hit that pothole, hit the bump, and I just immediately went airborne again.
Oh my God.
And so I've never landed on the asphalt since then, but I've landed on the dirt, you know, over a dozen times.
So
it's a really nice dirt runway.
This oil pressure, that's good, right? It's right.
Yeah, it's
a little high.
we just don't want it in the red.
Right.
That's the only problem. If it starts getting in the red or close to the red, then we have a problem. It's a little bit above the green, but that's not too big of a problem for me.
I powered down a little bit.
That's all good. That'll work for me.
Okay.
And now, did I take you to see Calhan the other day?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And I looked it up on that. It's a dirt runway with that green little strip at the end.
Yep, exactly.
I looked it up on Google too.
Awesome. I wanted to say I took you over there, but I just wanted to make sure. But yeah, those are pretty much the only airports around here, unless we start going a little bit more further northwest. But yeah, Springsy's just up here. And there is fuel there too. So if you are, come back from cross country and be really messed up if you can make this airport but not Meadow Lake. But just know that you can fill up there.
Alright, so you zoom out with this one?
The RNG range.
That's right. I just want to see where that other, because I saw the what's it called, Cleburne or
Calhan.
Calhan. I don't know why I want to say Cleaver. Calhan. I saw Calhan on the what do you call it, Garmin.
Gotcha.
And for flight, I was able to pull it up. I just wanted to look at it. All right. Seems like there's not a lot out here right now.
Nope.
Is it usually like this, or
What, not busy?
yeah?
Well, that's the thing. You think it's not busy.
And then you'll see something.
Exactly. It's just always keep your eyes peeled, because there's a lot of planes out here that you probably just don't see.
Yep. That's so crazy. You hit an upward draft and it just,
Oh yes.
like, you don't even, it's like, yep.
You can't do anything about
No, it just takes you up.
it. Yep.
Go with the wind like a kite. But that's how they're supposed to be designed.
Yep. That's Springsy's. As you can see, there's a crosswind runway that we're just about level with. That's terrible. Don't ever try to land on that, unless it's
Where is it?
right off of our wing. A little bit in front of our wing, though.
Huh.
Really close to us, halfway up the strut.
Hold on. Wind is blowing me around. Where is it? I see the runway, the main runway.
Oh, it's going literally perpendicular to it.
Oh, yeah.
It's dirt.
I'm sorry. It's dirt. That's why I didn't see it. I was looking for an asphalt one, but you
Yep.
said those dirt. That's why. Okay, I
And
see the
then,
dirt one. Yeah. It doesn't look like a runway though.
No, it's not. Well, it is, but
It is,
it shouldn't be. And then the dirt runway is just parallel to the.
Yep.
It looks just like a taxiway,
taxiway, yeah.
but it is a runway.
Okay.
And so that's 17 going southbound, and then 35 going northbound.
Okay. Doesn't look like there's a lot of hangars or anything there. It's a small airport, huh?
Nope, it's insanely small. All right. Any questions about what we just talked about?
No.
Trying to think of any other emergencies that we might have. Let's
Yeah, I was
see.
gonna say we don't have carb icing, but you could run through that if you want. I mean, anything else you want to run?
So what would you kind of experience if you did have carb icing?
Potentially, RPM drop.
An RPM drop, and then what would you do?
Well, you turn the carb heat on,
And then what would happen?
and then you'd want a full mixture to clean out any, and run that up to try to clean out any ice.
I wouldn't go full mixture. I would just activate carb heat. But what's going to happen to your RPMs when you activate carb heat?
It's gonna go down,
It's going to go down. And then what will it do?
and then it'll go
And then it
up
will
once
go
it
up.
clears out. Yep.
Exactly. So that's one thing that you always need to remember. You activate carb heat, you see RPMs drop, don't immediately turn it off.
Right. You want to stay there till it goes
Let
back
it run rough. Let it suck that water in through the carburetor and burn it all off. It has to. And then it'll start to run normally after it burns all that off.
And that's why I asked about the full rich, because somewhere I read they said go full rich to clean out any of the, because the engine's going to want to run rough with the water in it. I don't know if that's true. I don't know. You know more than me. I was just saying that's something I saw.
I will ask my head of maintenance.
But I don't know, again, I read that somewhere. You know how it is.
Exactly. You read it once and you're like, oh, that's...
Or even the people that are getting the source, right? It's
Exactly.
Like, that's all I want to check, because either way, I mean,
I have never heard of that, but that sounds like something that would be, that you could
well,
do.
because you have water, my thought is you have water on the ice going in the engine,
Yeah.
and the engine doesn't run good on water, right?
Right,
So you
exactly.
put more fuel in there. But I don't know. We'll see.
It makes sense.
I also know that's good for spark plug fouling.
Exactly.
You do that, so maybe, I don't know, maybe not.
Exactly. Who knows? I'd rather have my engine running, though,
Right.
and have a little bit of fouled spark plugs.
So how did I do on that carb heat thing?
Yeah, oh good. That's exactly what I want to hear.
Okay, cool.
Alright, start turning me to about a 240 here.
Okay, 240. And then another question about bumpiness, like the wind and stuff. Is this, like, have you lived out here long enough to experience, like, this kind of turbulence? Is this normal?
Oh, I've had way worse than this.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, like, in general, because it seems like since I've been here, the wind's been, I know it's changing the season, but...
Yeah. It's, you'll get more calm wind days in the summer, but more turbulent days in the summer.
Yeah.
Because of the rising thermals. Give me a turn to 210.
Bumpy.
In the winter time, it's the opposite. It's really smooth air, but it can get very windy at the surface.
Right.
So it's kind of just changes with the season, but I'll tell you, this is normal. This is like nothing to me right now. I've been in turbulence that my head has hit the ceiling several times, so this doesn't affect me as much. And did some like mountain flying as well, where, you know, we're getting 2,000 foot updrafts and downdrafts right after each other.
I was gonna say, that seems kind of sketchy, the mountain flying.
Mountain flying is fun, but it is sketchy. You have to take a lot of precautions when you're flying in the mountains, because obviously you don't have the luxury of flat ground.
Right.
Metal traffic, Sky 25 Victor is 5 to the east, inbound for 45 entry, left down 15 Metal.
Minus 15, altimeter 29er.
Is that it right there?
Yep, and we'll just keep flying this way to come in for...
Intercepted at 45.
Correct, you can go down to 7,800 here.
Okay.
Meadow Lake Airport. Automated weather observation. 19er. 20 Zulu weather. Wind 19er. 0 at 10 gust 15 wind. Variable between 13 and 210. Visibility 10.
Jeez, I just picked this up. Did you feel that?
Yeah,
like really high too.
Oh yes. Yeah, it's getting pretty squirrely out here.
Yeah.
I think let's practice a couple go-arounds.
Okay.
And we'll call it. Sounds good.
Sounds good to me. Good little flight. Yeah, it's getting pretty.
But yeah, I'm not going to expect you to try to land this beast of an airplane. Especially in these conditions, because it says it was swinging from about 130 to 210, which is about an 80 knot or 80 degree difference.
Okay.
Which is really fun when it starts doing that.
You said 7, what was the altitude? 80?
78, so exactly where you're at.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And then you can go ahead and start turning to the midfield.
Okay.
Metal traffic, Sky 25 Victor is on a 2 mile 45 entry for 15 Metal.
Sir Christian, down to Meadow Lake. I belong to you, say again.
And we're on a 2 mile 45 entry for the left downwind for 15, just to the southeast.
Okay, and I just turned downwind for 15, picture girl.
And I got you in sight there. We'll probably do a little 360 to come in behind you for spacing.
Should we go right?
No, let's go to the left.
Okay.
All good.
Go 360 right here?
Yeah, we'll do a little 360 right here.
All right.
What a nice guy.
Why? What did he say? I didn't catch that.
He was just like, I'm so sorry for cutting you off there. And I was like, don't worry
Yeah,
about
that is nice.
it. That's all good.
I like nice people.
Yeah, we don't get a whole lot of nice pilots out here. We get a whole lot of assholes out here.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Like that stay at the airport, or?
Oh, yes.
Really?
Well, yes. There's a lot of guys that got some pretty big egos because they were in the Air Force or the Navy, and they think they run shit.
This is their airport, basically.
Oh yes, they think that.
How am I doing on this turn?
Good.
Middle Lake traffic, RV 56 Romeo Hotel. Left base, runway 15, pitch go, Middle Lake.
Left base, so he's about to turn into that final, huh?
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
Just watch that altitude. I know.
Yeah, just picked me up there.
This updraft is kind of killing us, but.
Do you want the controls now, or?
No, you got it.
Okay, cool.
Middle Lake traffic, Skyhawk 25 Victor is entering left downwind 15 for low approach Middle Lake. Alright, let's start turning for downwind. And just pull a little bit of power out to kind of counteract that updraft.
Traffic, RV 56 Romeo Hotel, short final, runway 15, touch go, Middle Lake.
Alright.
Should I turn landing lights on now?
Yeah, so let's go LC Gumps. Lights, carb heat, no carb heat. Gas is good, we still got fuel. And undercarriage is fixed and locked. Mixture is still good. And then prop full.
Okay.
And you can push the prop in when you go full. Alright, there you go. And then switches, seatbelts and shoulder harnesses. We both got ours on. I'm going to tighten mine because it probably feels like we're about to get our asses kicked as we come down.
Probably.
And now we can bring the power back.
What about flaps now, or no?
And we'll power first, then flaps.
Okay. Yeah, we're still not in the white yet.
Yes, bring that power back a little bit more. Bring it all the way down to that 1,000 manifold, or 10 inches manifold.
Okay.
There we go. Now we can go 10 degrees of flaps.
Okay.
A little bit of pitch, and let's start turning for base. Okay. Middle Lake traffic, 25 Victor, left base, 15, low approach Middle Lake. There we go.
Middle Lake traffic, RV 56 Romeo Hotel, left crosswind, runway 15, full stop, long roll out, Middle Lake.
Flaps 20 degrees now?
Yep, let's do it.
Level out, flaps 20 degrees.
And start that turn.
Okay, let's go.
A little bit of pitch down, keep that speed up.
65?
Yeah, 60, 65. I would actually probably go 65, 70 on a nice little turbulent day.
And on this, are we going take around or go around?
Yeah, we're going to do a go around. I will call it though, so I want you to basically come over the numbers, pull power back, and then I'll say go around.
Okay.
And so we're getting nice
up here.
Updraft, so power to compensate that. Let us come down. There we go.
Slide a little bit.
Traffic 25 Victor, short final 15, low approach Middle Lake.
Okay, trying to slide like you taught me, but this little draft.
Yep.
How am I doing?
Looking good.
Okay.
We're right on the center line.
About
Speed's
65.
looking good.
Okay. And we're a little high.
That's
I
fine.
can tell what's called what's that
Pappy.
called? Pappy. Jeez, this updraft is crazy.
Oh yes. All right.
Alright.
Power all the way out.
Okay, power all the way out.
All right. And go around. Full power.
Okay, full power. And then you said don't check the flaps yet.
Well, let it
go.
stabilize.
Okay, now
Now
flaps
we can
10
go
degrees.
flaps 10. Perfect.
And then wait until we're stable, which we are. Flap 0.
There we go.
And then RPM, you want me to adjust that or just leave that right now?
So,
runway 15, full stop, long roll
like with the flaps, give yourself some time.
Yep.
And I like to do it when I have, when I'm about to turn crosswind. So I usually turn crosswind at 72.
Okay.
So about 7,000 to 7,100. Now we can start turning it back, get it back to about 2,500 RPM.
What is that yellow light?
That means that you're in the yellow of the RPM.
Oh,
So it's not great for it, but it's really just letting you know you can't stay at that RPM for extended periods of time.
Got it.
Or else it will damage the engine. So that's why I always say, get a safe height above the ground, and then start bringing it back.
Okay, so we want to do the crosswind now?
Let's do it.
Alright.
Middle Lake traffic 25 Victor, left crosswind 15. Be a low approach Middle Lake.
Alright, and how about a downwind?
Let's do it. And then about midfield, I want you to kind of run through that LC Gumps again. Did we go through that together?
We did, but briefly. And
Briefly.
That's one of those things that I probably need a little bit more. So is L lights?
Lights.
Okay, G is gas. We're in both. And we got gas, we got fuel. And then LC is carb heat. We don't need carb heat. G is gas. And then U is undercarriage. We don't have. M is mixture.
Yep.
And then P is prop.
Prop can go full.
Okay. And then S is
Seatbelts.
seatbelts. Okay, I'm gonna pull back on the throttle.
There you go. Penalty traffic, Sky 25 Victor is midfield left downwind 15, low pressure penalty. So we're a little tight.
I actually just noticed that.
Here we go.
Just noticed that, as you said. I remember you said that little crossing and that little tank.
Oh yes. Alright, we can start setting up.
Okay, so getting a little throttle out so I can get my flaps. Oh, yeah.
Nice and bumpy.
Oh, come on. I'm all the way at idle right now.
Yeah, and you can put in flaps 10 degrees at 110.
Okay.
Or below. But in order to do 20 to 40, you have to be in that white arc.
Okay, I'm going to make the base now.
Let's do it.
Traffic 56 Romeo Hotel clear. Taxiway Alpha at Echo last call.
I think we're a little low.
Yep, just keep that power in and just flatten it out.
Yep, and then I'm going to go flaps 20. And I don't like where my approach is going, but I need a lot of this little wind here.
Let's start that turn to final so we don't get pushed over.
You feeling that?
Oh yeah.
It's a lot, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Penalty traffic, Sky 25 Victor is final 15, full stop penalty.
Okay, I'm start pulling back. Jeez. I'm having to really push it in here.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I'm pulling back the power. Get that speed.
Alright, so this will be a full stop. We'll land it, but as always, light on the controls. I'll help you land it.
Okay.
And just, as always, listen to my instructions. As we pull power out over the numbers, I'm going to have you put a touch of power back in.
Right before we hit the ground?
Right after you take the power out. So we're going to land with power.
Okay.
Oh, and we are going to float, but that is okay.
Okay, so you just tell me when to put the power in.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Are you at all the way idle? Get a little bit of power in there.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, there we go.
I felt that. See that updraft? That's what I was expecting.
Yes.
Alright, we're a little high, but...
Nope, just keep that power where it's at right now.
Okay.
Alright. We're looking good.
Okay.
We're going to keep getting closer.
Okay.
Touch of power.
Okay.
There we go. We're going to get a little bit of pitch, a little bit of rudder, power coming back, and then just keep it where it's at right now.
Floating up.
Oh
Ground
yeah.
effect.
Oh yes. We're going to keep that back pressure coming back. We got a little bit of right crosswind, so we hold that right crosswind correction in. And then we can get a little bit of brakes, and then pitch back.
That was pretty good.
Not bad.
I feel like that was good. You helped me. I mean, I know, but I think that was a good landing, man. Okay.
Couldn't have done it without you.
And we don't need to stop here, right? Because it's on the other line.
Exactly. Keep it going.
And do you hold the? Do you want to hold the yoke back or no?
You don't have to hold the yoke back, but we will put in a crosswind correction. So that wind is coming from.
Can't see that.
Where is it coming from? I think it's coming from behind and from our
So
right.
I'll put a little bit of a right aileron.
Opposite. Now it's the opposite because it's
There's a
coming
bird
from
really
behind
sitting there.
us.
See that?
Oh yeah, they are suicidal out here. They're absolute idiots.
I thought that was a good flight, man. I mean, it was bumpy, but I liked it.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously on days like today, I don't really want to focus too much on landings.
Yeah.
Because it's not useless, but we can do other stuff, and especially emergencies. That's one of the biggest things that I like to talk about.
Yeah, that was good for me. So then when we get back, just help me write down those acronyms and.
Oh yes.
That's good for me.
Definitely go over those.
I'm so glad we got 2 good days in so far, man. That's like, it was a bummer, when it first started off. First one, only 30 minutes, because it's so crazy, right?
Yep.
And then the second one got canceled. Third one, only 30 minutes. with Jared on Monday, but I'm gonna actually be out of town, so I cancel it. And then on Friday, I think I switched it back to you. I had Jared, but you had an opening. Is that okay?
Works for me.
Okay. Because I like working. I like flying with you. I want to stick with you.
All good to me.
If that's cool. And then also, I think we talked about this a little bit, but as far as like the schedule, like of how many hours, like you think, like if how am I trying to say this? I need to get at least 40, but most people get more than that, right?
Oh yes.
So
you will not be a 40-hour pilot because nobody is.
Right. Yeah, that's what I heard. Everybody said that. Everybody. So, and then I just want to make sure that going for, because I can keep booking, and I don't want to book too much, I guess, but then it doesn't hurt, does it?
You can only book a month in advance anyway.
So should I keep going as well?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Always book a month in advance. You can always cancel it at a later date.
Yeah.
And if you're like, oh, well, I met my hours and I'm about to take my check ride, but I have, 5 more flights booked, well, then you can cancel. That's not a big deal.
Okay, cool. Because I'd rather, that's exactly what I was going to say. Because you had some openings and there's some planes coming up down the line, so I want to go ahead and get those.
So the thing that we don't want is for you to be like, okay, I want to at least fly 3 times a week, so I want to book 5 times a week, and then I'm just going to cancel kind of 2 when I don't want to fly the day of. Yeah. That's what we don't want.
That's not me. I want to fly those 5 days.
Exactly.
I just put 5 days minimum. I mean, I just want to get at least 3 days. That's kind of like the way I look at it. And if we get cancellation like we did Wednesday for wind, which was crazy, I called the airport, and talked to ADA. Is it called AWAS?
AWAS for here, yeah.
Yeah, and then it was like, it was like 20 or 29 knot gusts or something like that. I was like, damn. I was like, I'm not flying that.
Oh, hell no. Hell no, I'm not flying in that weather.
Dude, this is fun. This is why I felt like totally confident the whole time, man.
Nice.
Like even with the bumps and wind, they don't bother me at all.
Good, like stomach's fine.
Oh yeah, totally.
Awesome.
I mean, like I said, I've flown a lot of planes and I like aviation. There was a time going right this time.
Yeah, we'll go right here.
Okay. There was a time when I was afraid to fly, which is funny because now I'm a pilot. Oh, do I want to pull my flaps up now?
Yeah, you can go flaps up.
Yeah. Okay.
And then just after this blue plane here,
pull in there.
go through that parking spot because ours is right in front of it.
Okay. Make sure I have plenty of clearance over here.
Yeah, and you can cheat to the right just a little bit, but just don't run over this tire. Yeah, you're good. Just go straight here.
Okay. Yeah, I'm okay right there on this side.
Perfect. And just keep it coming forward.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that plane right there is actually impounded.
Oh no.
By the FAA.
Well, because the pilot did something bad?
They were out of annual inspection for about 5 years, and they were illegally flying it.
You have the checklist?
Yeah, here you
go. Dang, that sucks. Okay. Oh, it's gonna shut down. Yeah. Well,
it'll do that. So be careful.
More throttle.
Be careful when you bring throttle to idle on this guy, because it will do that.
So do we want to go ahead and start it again, or no? Okay.
Nope, it's fine.
Okay, after landing wing flaps, mixture. Lane.
Lane 95.
Key off, then what?
Just key off for me right now.
Okay.
Because I don't want those mags active. Nothing on 121.5 either.
That. Electrical switches off.
Or avionics.
And then all lights except for beacon. Okay. And excellent. Navigation light off.
All right. And then, well, we can't do the throttle or check the arc
Nope.
magnets.
That's all right.
Master switch off. Okay. There we go. So I guess like now we're just.
Oh, actually, turn on
What's
the master switch again.
Okay. What do we think? Oh, the
Hours.
tack. Yeah, that's right. Let me get that.
2054.9.
Hold on. Okay. 2054.9.
Yep.
Of course, my. 2054.9. Okay. 2054.9.
And then 171.4.
1.4.
And whenever you see this, you see how it's,
it's
3
halfway.
about to go 4?
Yeah.
That means it's literally
4.
about to go
Okay.
4. So don't do 3. Because we want the hours anyway, right?
Right. Yep, I'm with you.
We're not at a point where we're just trying to just fly because we need to get proficient. We're flying because we need hours, and we're trying to get proficient.
So how am I doing, by the way? Like, give me your honest feedback.
Better than most of my students at this stage.
Well, that's good.
And better than most students that are past this stage.
Okay.
So
makes me feel good then.
So the thing is, I honestly, all I ever want out of a student is someone that is responsive and that studies and that understands the importance of safety.
Right.
And you kind of nail all of that.
Sweet.
So that's all I care about. I don't care about, oh, you're 200 feet off on your altitude,
Yeah.
you're speeding. No, I don't care about that right now. All I care about is you understanding the importance of